Yep. Now what Rob's trying to do here is saturate the roller to start with without getting too many air bubbles in it. So a sort of gentle pressure to get the paint into the roller. And it's really a case of getting a feel for the paint, isn't it, Rob?
It certainly is.
And we think there's about a working time of about 3 minutes max. But you know, the big trick really is to watch for any hard lines that you get and try and rework them with the roller before they become prominent and dry. Now it's odd really, because when you first put it on, it's almost got an Artex finish, isn't it, Rob? But you find that as long as you've got your mix right, it's about 20–25%.
And the bubbles disappear out of it.
Yeah, and it smooths out quite nicely. If you have it too thin, it does literally wash down the van. The other thing we find is that if you go in different directions, that also helps lose some of the lines that you get with a roller. Of course, you may not be doing yours white, and on a day like today it's not actually that pleasant, is it?
Do what?
Now one thing you might be wondering is why we haven't actually masked the windows up, and that's because we've already put a couple of layers of paint on, and we're just concentrating on the main panels now to build up the paint. But it does pay to remove as much trim. Well, you naturally remove the door handles, obviously, but it does pay to remove as much trim as you can.
Just give it a good scrub with the dry, the panel dry.
What you've just got to tell in what Rob was saying about actually painting this is having an idea where you've actually been. And it's not easy. Sometimes it's a case of getting in at the right angle, isn't it, Rob? And
yep.
And trying to see it. But as you can see, he's become quite an expert with this roll. I think his next job will be doing a bathroom.
Anyone for a new bath? Like I say, you can see the dry, so you can tell where you've got to go over. Because you've got the shadow of yourself between you and the sun.
The other thing we'll emphasise here, this is the end of July, beginning of August, and
what, 8 weeks?
8 weeks of rain, which doesn't help. But more to the point, we've started fairly early in the morning, relatively early in the morning, because by the time you get to midday, you know, the insects life, bugs life is in full swing. So you know, it does pay to start this early in the morning if you're going to do it outdoors the way we are. Of course, if you do it indoors, you need an awful lot of room around your van. One of the things we have noticed is if you notice across just under the gutter line, that's one of the areas that's actually quite easy to neglect when you're rolling. You almost forget about it, don't you, Rob?
Yep.
And it actually isn't the easiest place to get because the roller width and all the rest of it. But I say normally the windows would be masked up, and what we found is a sponge brush will do that quite well. And so normally we wouldn't do it in this kind of heat, especially when you're working with white.
It's just the weather has been atrocious.
But look, he makes it look so easy. Now of course it seems fairly obvious when you're working on flat panels, you know, you can get to it with the roller, but these ridges and that kind of thing, and Rob will just show you how you work into the ridge with the roller. Won't you, Rob? More or less. Again, you've got to watch for these hard lines, but and of course you can work upwards as well, so your roller actually fits the ridge. Yeah, no substitute for experience really. I think, you know, it's a case of getting stuck. Give it a go, get stuck in with the roller, and away you go. And as long as you've got your mix right, then, you know, and you can keep on top of it, you should get quite a good finish. Actually, painting with white presents probably more problems than any other colour, but you know, finally you certainly have to put a lot more paint on with the white. But the smell's not too bad either, is it, Rob? It's not obnoxious. It's certainly no worse than a gloss.
No, I don't think it's as bad as house paint actually. Do you?
No. Actually, Rob did say that if somebody had said to him that you'd be painting your van with a roller, he said he wouldn't believe it. But it is quite amazing the finish you can get with it, isn't it?
Proof's in the rubbing down, isn't it? Once you give it the old
oh yeah, absolutely.
Put it back and
yeah.
It's like the layers you said, 4 or 5 layers. You've got something to grip onto and
Well, actual fact, for this coat we're doing today, we actually got out a normal household green scourer and gave it an actual good scrubbing, didn't we, Rob? And that actually took a lot of the high points off and gave it
scourer.
That's it, gave it a key again, didn't it?
Yep, kitchen scourer, because all the dirt hasn't been touched for 8 weeks. Did the first lot end of May, and now it's.
One of the things, Rob, when I was just saying is because, you know, the Type 25 is such an immense vehicle, really. Once you start, you either got to keep going, or you've got to come to a defined line, you know, with the seams and stop. Simply because you've only got that certain amount of time to work. If you start going over paint that's gone past the 3 or 4 minutes, then you actually end up creating a textured finish. So you've only got a small work time on it, really. Incidentally, you can also do the glass fibre roofs. We haven't in this case, but you can. There's no commentary at this point because there's a certain therapeuticness to the sound of the roller, isn't there, Rob? We're now waiting an hour, well, give or take an hour, for it to go off so we can go around and do what we think will be the last and final coat. Well, thankfully the sun's gone down a bit now, and this is, we hope, more or less the final coat.
We do.
Now, one thing we haven't talked about here much is the, you know, one of the side effects of using a roller, if you like, is that you'll often get lines develop where the roller's been. And it's just a case of rolling those out as quick as you can.
What's that? You happy with that?
Yeah, I think we're happy with it. You know, one of the potential hazards of rolling outdoors, and that's flies. What's the best way to remove flies, Rob?
Tweezers.
There you are. There you are, your answer.
Yes.
Or you can polish them out afterwards and end up with a kind of Garibaldi finish.
Garibaldi?
Well, we did consider throwing sand on it for that true Artex look.
Oh, yeah. Well, most of them spend their time down at the beach anyway, you wouldn't notice a difference. Hey?